What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another great episode of Tequila Time. I'm your boy, Big Dave.
And I'm your boy, Mr. Yes, sir. Ray in the building.
And I'm Dougie K. Saravo.
Today, we are talking about the supernatural. And, as we all know, Doug doesn't believe in ghosts.
No, I believe in spirits.
Spirits, ghosts, same thing to me.
Nah, spirits.
It baffles me sometimes.
How does it baffle you?
Because what's the difference between spirits and ghosts?
A ghost is something that's going to haunt you. It's Halloweenish. A spirit, it's like it's your spirit when you pass away. You could either be in heaven, hell, or purgatory. Ghost is like, woo.
So where do ghosts come from and where do spirits come from?
Ghost is the haunted.
How do they get haunted? How did they come into being?
For that, I don't know, but I don't.
Well, I would think that if a ghost, if it was a
something's
haunted,
scary,
right? That means that it's negative energy.
Yeah, negative energy.
All right.
Mhm.
So there's no negative spirits out there.
There could be like maybe.
So that would put them in the ghost realm.
So the negative spirit becomes a ghost?
It could be like, I feel like sometimes, like if there's someone that you don't get along with, right, and they pass away, they may come back to like haunt you.
So that would make them a ghost.
Like they made you miserable while they were alive. Now they're making you miserable while you're dead.
According to
Or while
you,
they're dead.
that would make them a ghost because you said ghosts haunt people.
I guess you could go that route, but I don't believe in ghosts. I believe in spirit.
So then I'm trying to figure this out. So does a ghost haunt an individual person? Or do they haunt like a place or
It could be an individual person.
because how do multiple people get affected by like a house haunting if the ghost is
Maybe they gather together for like,
because we watch
They're
a lot
having
of
a spirit
movies.
meeting.
Yeah.
could be like, think about it. It's like a haunted house. So maybe whoever lived there, maybe when they passed away, they didn't go to heaven and they're just stuck down on the earth where they lived. And their spirit is surrounded by where they're at, the haunted house.
Have you ever seen one?
A haunted house? Yeah.
No.
Spirit.
A spirit
I felt it around me. Like
or
I felt,
a ghost rather. A ghost.
So
Have you
what
seen
was
it?
you said you felt the spirit. What would be like that encounter for you that you knew it was a spirit by you?
so let's go to work. Let's go where we work, okay?
Mhm.
I'll give an example. I felt like he was trying to tell me something. So
Who was trying to tell you something?
my friend Mike that passed away.
Okay.
All right, so it's called Mahi. I was clamping Mahi one day,
Mhm.
and there's a long joke with him. So the owner of the restaurant that I used to work at, who passed away too, said, "Okay, you want to when we all work together." He's like, "Okay, you want to be a server? Read the specials."
Mhm.
So he was like, "Okay, let me read one of the specials." He's like, "Okay, mahi." So the owner gave him the nickname Stutz, and for years I kept messing with him about it. I said, "What's up, Stutz?" He's like, "Why do you keep calling me Stutz?" Because you stutter. He's like, "I don't stutter." I said, "You tried doing the specials, reading mahi, mahi."
Uh-huh.
So, when he first passed unexpectedly, I was down. And then maybe a year or so later, like I finally got back to myself after losing him.
Mhm.
So I'm clamping the mahi, and for some reason I was thinking about him that day. As I clamped the mahi, I dropped it. So I'm like, "You're trying to tell me something right now." So like I feel like you could feel like that spirit around you.
Okay.
Maybe it was coincidence. I don't know.
I mean, you drop stuff every day, Doug. So it's like,
Yeah, I was gonna say.
But that particular item,
Maybe that item just brought you the more memories of, hey, this is what happened.
could be, but that particular item that I happened to drop.
You know what's crazy though?
Mhm.
That you say that because my best friend, basically like his stepfather, passed away from brain cancer, right? So we went to the ceremony of life,
Mhm.
and
Oh yeah, sorry about that. I said have fun. I didn't realize what it was.
yeah. So you know, they made a playlist of music that he liked.
Yeah.
So one of the things he said was, "Don't play Pitbull." Because he never liked Pitbull.
Yeah.
Which is funny because my best friend loves Pitbull. So, like, you ever talk to him, be like, "Yo, Mr. 305, Mr. Globalization, Pitbull, this and that." So I was messing with him that day, and I'm like, "Yo, you should play some Pitbull right now."
Oh no.
So we're laughing. And he's like, "No, I don't have it on the list of songs that I played." He's like, "I got a certain track list." So after a while, you know, we just kept joking over it.
Mhm.
We all go up, we take a shot. Now, all the shot glasses are from Bill, the guy who passed away. All right. So we all take a shot glass. We all picked one. You get to keep the shot glass that you get. So we
Okay.
all took shots. I go back to my table and we're hanging out. We're talking. All of a sudden, shot glass falls off the table and breaks.
What?
I was like, we started laughing, and I'm like, really? I said, how did this just fall? Like, it wasn't at the edge. It was a little further in. And I'm like, I said, "Yeah, that must be him saying you're not taking this one because you wanted to bring Pitbull up in here."
Yeah.
See, and this is an interesting conversation because Dave, every time I try to have this conversation with him, he does not believe in like some type of afterlife.
That's a lie, because we had this conversation last time of me being in my boy's house and seeing the spirit of his father-in-law.
No, I know that, but whenever I try to talk about heaven or hell, you're like, how do you know? What if we're reincarnated into trees or animals?
Oh, so that's not him saying he don't believe. That just means you're believing in a final destination.
Yeah.
as it were.
No, but like I think what Dave believes, and no one knows Dave like I do. I
He's
think
right here. He could say it himself.
no, I think
be
what
nice.
Dave believes is this.
No words in my mouth. Here we go,
No.
bro.
But what,
Speak for me, Doug. Go
but
ahead.
what Dave,
What do I believe in?
what I think Dave believes in is he's like, oh, billions of spirits. No, what Dave believes in is reincarnation. Like he believes that we could be like an animal, or we could be like a tree,
No,
or like
you don't believe
or
in
like-
reincarnation.
or like what Dave also said to me once is, you know, deja vu, right? What if you were someone else 20 years ago?
Yeah.
I bring that up because you don't believe in reincarnation,
I just don't.
but yet you believe in heaven and hell. How do you not believe in reincarnation? How do you not know that there's other stuff out there, bro?
because I just don't.
How do you believe you will look when you go to heaven or hell? Do you have a form, or are you just formless?
I think you're just spirit. It's a mystery. I think you're a spirit. Like I don't know if we're like floating up there, or like your body returns eventually when it's the end times. I'm not exactly sure, but I do believe that we have an afterlife. I don't think we come back as an animal or
But
a
there's
tree.
been like documentation of video footage of kids, but like telling a story of like a great grandfather that they would have no idea of knowing because they weren't born at the time, but they would know detail from detail of what happened that time.
maybe they saw it in a dream where the spirit spoke to them. So
And
you're,
they gave them details
so you're
saying,
so you're telling me I could be let's think of something.
"You be Abraham Lincoln for all I know, bro."
But how? He died.
But how do you know that that spirit, as you say, wasn't floating around, you know, throughout the time and then said, "Oh, look, here's a body I would like to take"?
I just don't think that's possible.
And what if, right? The spirit is particleized, right? So you get a part, somebody else gets a part, but nobody gets the whole thing. So we're all a part of each other throughout all of time.
And maybe some people were lucky enough to get the whole spirit back,
Some people might,
or at
get-
least half the spirit.
I don't buy that.
Why?
I just don't.
Look, the wind's picking up now.
Exactly. It's trying to tell you, Doug, we are all a part of each other.
All right, let's not get liberal on this.
We have been here before.
I'm just saying that, listen, between spirits, ghosts, purgatory, you believe in purgatory, but you don't believe in spirits floating in the earth and being able to possess, like take over and become a new life.
When did I say that? That is technically purgatory.
But you're saying that they can't. All right, if you got a spirit, right, stuck in purgatory or stuck on earth, right?
Yeah.
That spirit should be able to take over some type of life form sooner or later. Should be able to go into them. So when a baby comes out the womb and takes his first breath of air, how do you know a spirit hasn't just taken that body to come back
Because
as reincarnation?
I don't think that's possible.
Why not?
Because you're born as a new person, a new soul, a new human being.
So why do they have the saying you have an old soul?
Mm-hmm.
That's just like a song.
You don't believe that certain people have old souls?
No, you have your own.
So if say somebody your age or younger than you, right, does something that we haven't done in 20, 30 years, right? Say they do the housework and they do it a certain way that they did it 50 years ago, but they were never taught that. And be like, oh, somebody be like, oh, you got an old soul because you do it this way. How'd you learn that? He was like, oh, well, I've just always done it this way.
Yeah, people. That's how some people are.
But you don't think that it's some type of spirit or past or something that took over them and is like, okay, this is a part of them. They might not know the full extent of their life.
It's possible, but I just don't believe that. 'Cause I feel like we're our own individual. We have our own soul.
You got to open your mind, bro. I think that's what it is.
I do open my mind, but I just don't believe it. I just don't believe it.
I do open up my mind, but I just don't believe it.
Just like
I'm gonna tell you what, if you were taught this as a kid, you would believe it. Just like you were
Not
taught
really.
religion.
No, I don't. I
As
disagree with
you were
that.
taught believing in God, as you were taught.
No,
there's
I
a
believe
heaven
in
and
God
hell.
because of my own life experiences.
So do you believe in possession?
I think it's possible, but I just don't believe it.
So you think it's possible to be possessed, but you don't believe that it's possible to be a spirit to go and, because that would be possession as well, into a baby and start a whole
No.
new life.
No,
Must be nice.
Must be nice.
I just don't.
So when you pass on from this reality, let's say,
Yeah,
you believe you're either gonna go to heaven or you're gonna go to hell. You're not gonna.
or I could be in purgatory. I don't know. Only the man above knows that. I
Yeah.
want to be in
But
heaven.
in purgatory. Oh, my bad. In purgatory. Oh, now I'm about to eat the mic. In purgatory, are you allowed to come back here? Like, for example, if you wanted to warn your brother, like, hey man, don't go down this street. There's a freaking pothole or something. Do you believe that while you're in purgatory, you could come back and warn your brother? Or is it just like, I'm just there, I can't go anywhere until a decision is made to whether or not I go to heaven?
Oh,
or
we
hell?
getting deep now.
No, well, all right.
Because I would throw that into premonition.
See, this is what I look at it. And I talk to my deacon a lot about this. He don't even have the answers because no one. He says I haven't died yet. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
But what I believe is I believe if you have like a guardian angel, yeah, you're in heaven. But I feel like somehow they could bring their spirit to you and like protect you from something.
Interesting.
Your guardian angel would protect you.
I believe that.
So you believe that a spirit or an angel can come down and help you out when you're in need.
It's possible. Why can't they?
Which means that a spirit from hell can come up and cause negative energy.
They can. I never said they can't.
That would be a ghost.
Yeah, that would be a ghost.
Got him.
Negative.
Got him.
But like, and I don't want to bring your kids involved. But so you're telling me your kid could be someone else?
Yeah.
So you're telling me when your kid was born,
It could be a past life brought into that new life.
I don't buy that.
I'm not saying that the person in whole is that old person. Just like Ray said, he said they got bits and pieces of that person.
So you're saying your daughter could be Jackie Robinson?
Yeah.
I don't believe that.
So you're not saying that in the future, 15, 20 years, Kobe passed, that somebody's going to come and play just like Kobe did. That part of Kobe's not in that person. Maybe they never even watched Kobe at that point too.
No, that's their own talent.
But they play exactly to the T like him.
Like to the T.
Same spin moves, same hook shots.
Tongue out, everything.
But they've never watched him.
I can't. But how does? I don't
They
know.
probably heard of him.
All right, Doug, let me ask you this. What is a spirit? What are they composed of?
It's what's inside of you.
But what is that?
I don't know. I can't describe it, but it's inside of you.
Well, there have been people that have described it as a form of energy, right?
Yeah, it's energy.
So scientifically, they say energy can't be created nor destroyed, only transferred. So if a person dies, their spirit has to transfer into something else.
Yeah, that's either heaven, hell, or purgatory.
See, but you're limiting you're limiting the options.
I'm not limiting it.
Yes, you are.
First of all, I don't limit.
Why?
things.
Why can't a spirit go into another person?
Because that person is a new human being, a new life
When do you gain life?
when you're born or
Okay.
when you're conceived.
Okay. So at any point in time, that spirit can go into that
No,
and form a new life.
no, because there's a new soul, a new spirit given to them by the Lord himself.
But how do you know that a spirit does not take over that body before that happens?
Because I don't have the evidence to prove that. But I
You
don't believe
don't have
it.
the evidence to prove that God gives you your own spirit, but yet you believe that.
Because I'm created in his image.
But you believe that, but you don't have the evidence. Where's the evidence? Show me the evidence.
There's a verse in the Bible that says that
Somebody wrote that.
Written by man. Bible written by man.
by witnesses
By man.
that were alive during that time.
Are
So
they
they witnessed God put a spirit into somebody,
No,
When they
they
were born.
they witnessed what Christ said.
which was
I knew you before. I gotta look it up, but I know the verse.
before I formed you in the womb?
Yeah.
okay. Let's take that. I knew you before I put you in the womb,
Mm-hmm.
right? So how do you know he was not saying that as I knew you as a spirit before I put you back into that womb? I knew you, maybe you were somebody who passed away that I've known before I put you back into this womb. I chose you to be this person now.
It's possible, but I just don't believe it.
You see?
Yeah. He said, I don't believe it though. He said it's possible, but I don't believe
I
it.
just don't believe it. It's possible, but I don't believe it.
Also, that goes back into my statement about particularization, right? If he breathed a part of himself into you, then that means we're all connected because we all come from one source. So there's not an infinite amount of different spirits being born. There's just a piece of one being breathed into a formless thing.
Well, what was it? Didn't Christ say a part of me is a part of you?
Yeah.
So do you
Yes.
believe a part of Christ is in you?
Oh yeah.
So
now
you
this
can't
gonna get
believe
deep.
another part of a human being or another part of a
No, but
spirit
that's
can be in
different
you
'cause
as
that's-
well?
That's the Lord himself.
Doesn't mean nothing. It's a spirit.
All right, so look at this, Doug. Look at this, right? I'm about to play devil's advocate, right? So in the Bible, it says, I'm in all, right?
Yes.
Around you all, through
Yes.
you all. So is God the devil?
No.
But he created all things. Wasn't the devil created after God? Right?
Well, essentially, God did create the devil because God casted him from heaven
And then he went to hell.
and he went to hell. So God did create the devil.
No, but he didn't create the evilness.
How not?
How not?
You ever seen a yin and yang circle?
He
In
created
everything.
him. He might have not purposely created him, but he created him by casting him out of heaven. And that hatred brought to him.
Yeah,
to
but he didn't
become-
create him to be the devil.
In a way, he did.
I
He
disagree.
pushed that negative energy out of him and said, "Listen, hey,
He got mad.
you're no longer belong up here.
Yeah,
you're
he-
going. You're being banished."
It's
And he took that
retaliation.
from God himself and said, "Well, since you're gonna kick me out, I'm gonna do whatever the hell I want."
Yeah, retaliation. But he
Mhm.
didn't say he go do harm to the world. Go
Yeah.
be negative to
No.
the world.
But he essentially put that in him because he said, "Listen, you're banished. You're no longer."
Retaliation.
If I said, "Doug, you're no longer my friend," right? How would you feel?
Betrayed.
Yeah, I'd be like tough.
The
It
dark
would-
side
It
would
would,
come
it would
out,
hurt.
Doug.
You'd be pissed too, right?
Yeah, and I'd probably go to a manager and be like, "This guy's on not doing his job.
So I created that from you. I
Yeah,
did
and
by
I'd
saying,
be
Doug,
shocked.
we're not friends no more.
That would hurt, honestly.
And Doug, too, also, as people who bring life into the world as parents, right? A part of each of them is in the child. And in the Bible that you read, it says, you are all gods. So are parents and people not gods when they create life as well?
Like, think about it for a moment.
No,
but I act like my dad sometimes. I walk like my dad sometimes.
Obviously, you picked up his traits.
Yeah, that's what it is.
You cruise like your mom. You know what I mean?
It's traits. But I wouldn't say I have the spirit of Kobe Bryant in me.
I mean, you don't play basketball.
Yeah.
So that makes sense.
There's
a whole movie about that one.
Yeah.
White man can't jump, bro.
There's another movie, Thunderstruck, where the guy switched places with Kevin Durant.
We got the motorcycles out today.
That's a
beautiful day.
Yeah, Thunderstruck. The guy held onto the ball like this.
Oh, why you grab my leg like that, bro?
No, and when he did that, he took Kevin Durant's talent, and Kevin Durant took the kid's talent.
Sounds like Space Jam to me.
It was a different movie, Thunderstruck. Look it up.
Yeah, sounds like Space Jam to me.
All right, so what do we guys think? You think you believe in ghosts, or you guys believe in spirits?
I believe in the supernatural. I believe there's ghosts, there's spirits. There's something out there we can't explain.
I believe that we all have the ability and potential to make anything a reality or make anything a non-reality, because it depends on what you believe. So what you believe is going to affect you. I don't believe that. Not that it's not going to affect me, but it means that I choose to close my eyes to any possibility of it being able to affect me. Not that it's not going to affect me. I just choose to ignore it. So I make it a non-reality to me. But then the things I choose to believe, I'm like, yeah, that's real. That's real, yeah, because I feel it in here.
So I get that. Like, I feel it in here too. Like, as a person, as a
but
human
you also
being,
you got to question everything at the end of the day. You can't just be like, oh, I don't believe in that. Well, because at the end of the day, there was always something that you didn't believe in that you had to be proven wrong.
Mm-hmm. No, I know, but my end goal is to get to heaven, and I don't want to say, oh, I don't believe in him, and the next thing you know,
I'm not saying you don't have to. I'm not saying that you don't have to believe in God. You don't have to believe in heaven. You don't have to believe in hell. What I'm saying is, don't dismiss everything else.
Who said I dismiss it?
Because you automatically say, "Oh, ghosts, I don't believe in."
I don't.
But
wait, no,
there may become a time in your life. It could be tomorrow. It could be 10 years. It could be 15
hold on,
years.
Now
where you pop up into a ghost.
I never said ghosts did not exist.
Yes, you did.
You said you don't believe in them.
I believe ghosts are real, but it's a negative energy.
So now
he did say, he said ghosts were haunting. That's
ghosts were haunting,
and spirits were.
No, when we had our conversation on the last one, you said ghosts are not real because they're this white thing that flow and go boo all day.
Yeah, that is. That's a ghost.
Have you ever seen one?
Yeah, someone had a decoration out.
No, not a decorated toy with your own eyes.
No, I never.
You believe in what you don't see.
I never seen a ghost, but I felt spirit around.
Maybe in 10 years you will. So don't just don't dismiss.
I never dismissed it.
You did. You said I don't believe in ghosts. That's you dismissing it. At the end of the day,
I never seen it, and I don't really think it's there.
But it can be there.
But it's only there like during the fall on Halloween. I don't think it's there year round. That's you guys dismiss things all the time.
Oh, I don't dismiss things. What did I dismiss?
Who, me?
Oh, Doug, you don't like girls.
That's not dismissing.
That seems like a personal preference.
It's not us dismissing stuff.
Yeah, you do. You dismiss that.
Nice. Must be nice.
You dismiss that.
No, we just put you in another category. We don't dismiss it. We just put you in another category. Well, listen. I know Ray wants to tell his story about his supernatural experience, so let's get to that.
Yeah, definitely.
Because we spoke about ours, but we haven't heard.
Let's hear yours.
Yeah, I've had quite a few. Let me see. Okay, if I go back to the furthest one, I'll try and keep it short. But the furthest one was we had a friend of the family, lived a couple houses down from us. His grandmother passed away.
Okay,
so. You know, when people pass away, you kind of stay. Like, let me stay with them to comfort them to make sure that their mental state.
Shit, Baltimore fired their coach.
nice.
Must be nice. We just said that.
Yeah, make sure their mental state is correct. So we spending the night over there, and that house got dark as I don't know what. And they turned off all the lights. We could go to bed, and I look, and I literally see his grandma standing there waving. And I was like, "Yo, turn the light back on. Turn the light back on. Turn the light back on." So he turned the light back on. I look, I'm like, okay. I was like, maybe I'm just imagining it. Turn the lights off again. There she is, still standing there waving. And I was like, "Yo, my man, I'm sorry, I can't stay." And he was like, "Why?" I said, "I seen your grandmother." So then he was like, what you talking about? I was like, "She got this one, and y'all had her hairstyle like this." He was like, "Yo, that's how we buried her." And I was like, "Yep, I seen her." And I was like, "I gotta go." Like, I couldn't stay the night there. So
Where was she?
Huh?
Where was she?
She was just standing like in front of the doorway. Like they had like an armoire where the clothes were or whatever, because they hadn't cleaned up her stuff yet. And she was just standing in front of it waving.
Did she say hello or
No,
Yeah, because she was waving.
she didn't say nothing. She was just waving.
no? But did you like hear anything?
No. I ain't hear any sound.
See, that's like the experience I had, where we spoke about it last time. I was at my boy's it was his in-laws house, and long story short, I noticed something in the living room, and I can clearly kind of picture what it was. It was like a person sitting there. Couldn't make any physical features, but I could tell there's somebody sitting there looking at me. So my boy's like, "Yo, let's go to the living room to talk," which was kind of weird. So we ended up going to the living room, and all I felt was somebody sitting next to me going like this, just looking at us. And I'm like, my eyes start watering, and I'm like, "You see that?" And he's like, "Yeah, I see that." Yeah. I'm like, "No, you see that?" And he's like, "Yeah, you look like you're about to cry." I'm like, "Yeah, I feel like a sadness." I said, "I see, I feel like somebody's here. Did anybody used to sit here?" And he's like, "Yeah, my father-in-law." And I'm like, "Well, I feel like he's here, just watching over." I was like, "You mind if I sit there?" He's like, "Yeah, go ahead." So I sat there for a while and just like stared at him, like my boy talking to me.
Yeah.
He's like, "Yo, let's get up. I don't want you to get sick or anything from the energy."
Yeah.
So we go back to the kitchen, and I look back into the living room, and I could like see him going, like nodding and saying, "Thank you for letting them know that I'm still here watching over them."
Exactly.
So do you feel like you're
like a kid with ADHD right now?
Do you feel
bro.
like do you feel like you're like a medium or like a psychic, or just
no? Because
there are,
listen,
you think those
do I
people
feel
are,
like I'm connected somehow to
you
a
think they're
spiritual
real?
world?
You think
Yes.
psychics are real?
I think yes. I think there is psychics that are real. I think there are people that can tap into it. They have that extra energy available. I forget what that kid's name is. There's a young kid that does. He's a medium, and he does like celebrities and stuff like that. And
Oh,
that kid,
I know who you're talking about.
That kid, if you actually like listen to his story, he's actually dying, bro. Like he has a sickness and stuff to him, and to me, that is he's using up too much energy. He's tapping into a world where he shouldn't really be tapping into to pull that energy, and that energy is draining him as he's getting older.
Exactly.
And he might not live very long. He may pass away at a very young age, but that's because maybe he feels like this is what I need to do. This is what I'm here for, whether it hurts me or not. And the craziest part is that after all this has happened, I was at my grandmother's house one day, and she looks at me and she goes, "Listen, if you ever see something you can't explain, don't be scared." And I'm like, "What do you mean?" And she's like, "I'm just saying somebody in our family is going to be able to see some things. You're not going to be able to explain it. Just don't be scared. Don't be afraid. It's just, it runs through our family." And I looked at my wife and I just like gave her that side eye.
Yeah.
Because my wife already knew, like, she doesn't like to hear that stuff, spirits and stuff like that, ghosts, whatever. But like, she knew, like, why is she saying this? He's already had these experiences and these encounters.
Exactly.
So
yeah, and it's a true thing, and one thing is nowadays it's an exciting time to be in nowadays, because we kind of educate ourselves more towards these things, and more people are pulling away from religion and starting to try to be spiritual, because what can happen is you can dim somebody's light to a degree. So for an example, one time I was young, I was living in a certain part of town. It was dark. There was a flea market down the street. I see this guy ride by on a bike, and I'm a kid. I'm probably like 11, I'm gonna say. See this guy riding by, And then
Damn. So this was what, back like in the 80s?
Must be nice.
yeah, back in the 80s, probably.
What does it
89.
matter, bro? He was a kid.
Yeah. So the guy rides by.
What's wrong with asking?
Because he said he was a kid. What does it matter?
Yeah. But I'm trying to tell you how when you're not educated on these things, you can kind of cause people to shy away from and not use their gifts. So the guy rides by and I start crying. So then everybody that's around me is like, yo, what the heck is wrong with you? And I was like, he's dead. And they start whipping me.
Who's
And
dead?
I was like, the guy that rode by on the bike. I said, he's dead. And they was like, what guy? What are you talking about? I said, y'all didn't just see this guy ride by on the bike. And they were like, ain't no guy ride by. And then you hear, boom. That guy got hit by a car. They said, oh, yo, he's fine. He's going to the hospital. Next day, they looked, the guy died. And they said, how did you know? I said, I don't know. It just came over me. And I just started crying because I'm like, he's dead. And that's all I kept saying. Even when they were beating me, I was like, he's dead. And they were beating me. And then I said, you know what? I'm not about to get beat for this talent. And I kind of suppressed it. And I hadn't used it in a long time. So then I had went on a fast because, you know, when you're religious, which I'm not anymore, I'm trying to be more spiritual than religious. You call yourself trying to be like, quote unquote, Jesus. So I'm like, I'm about to go on a 40-day fast. So I was just drinking liquid all day, no solid food. Then I got to the point where it was just water. Then it was like nothing at all. So I kept asking during that time, let me see the spirits on people. Let me see this. That was the talent that I wanted. Let me see the spirits on people. Let me see the spirits on people. And I was at work and this lady comes up to me and she's asking me a question about something. And I'm like, well, technically I'm not on the clock, but I can get somebody to help you in that department. And she walks up on me, steps on her tippy toes, growls, and her face turns into the face of a gargoyle. And I was like, thank you. And she got upset because she thought I was laughing at her, but I was saying thank you to whatever source allowed me to see the spirit that was on her. So there was another guy working with me. I was helping him because I was going to take him home, and he was up on the ladder. He came down the ladder and he was looking scared. And he was like, yo, did you see that? And I was like, what did you see? And he said she turned into a gargoyle. So that lets you know, if you are a person that is seeking to be spiritual and you get yourself in tune, you can affect people around you that are not on the same wavelength as you. So it's very important. That's why it's good that a lot of more people are waking up, because other people are going to be able to benefit from somebody else wanting that genuine ability. I'm just going to call it an ability.
Yeah.
So like your grandmother was telling you, wait, was that grandmother? Or
my grandmother.
Your grandmother's telling you somebody got gifts. If you see something, don't be scared, because if you allow yourself to shrink, then you won't be able to see it. You know what I mean?
I saw it, bro. You don't have to put it in my face.
You just looked
Must
for
be
like a
nice.
All right, one more instance, then I'm done. Because I also wanted to be able to have my spirit walk outside of my body. So I was like, yo, I need to practice astral projection. That's what they call it.
How'd that go?
I'm about to tell you. So
Always jumping the guns.
that's because Doug is scared. Doug's like, wait, he might be able to see me pop junk about him.
Nah, Doug's
And
in his head. He's like Ray's bullshitting us right now. He's like, I don't believe a word that's coming out of his mouth right now.
Yeah. So I'm sitting there and I'm going into meditation. You know what I'm saying? I'm starting to do the throat meditation because I believe in using the source of energy from yourself. Like if you go into your house and you emit the energy from yourself, you can kind of clear the room or clear your house of any negative types of energy. So I'm doing that. And then my eyes closed and I felt my astral self pulling out of my physical self, and then I bumped into something and I got scared and pulled myself back in. And then I was just like, yo, what was you? I was like, yo, I was in deep meditate. Like I kind of understood what it meant to be. So now you watch all these cartoons and anime, and you watch like Avatar, and you talk about tapping into the Avatar sort. You know what I mean? So their meditation and things there are a way to be able to start to believe things that you didn't believe before. You know what I mean?
But they say that we don't use 100% of our brain anyway.
No, we don't.
Especially this guy over here.
Oh, that's if Doug even has a brain.
If I only had a brain.
I do.
Must be nice.
So, right, why does time matter?
Because if you're not clocking it, somebody else is.
Must be nice.
That was fun, boys.
Well, that's another episode of Tequila Time. We'll see you guys next time. I'm your boy, Big Dave.
I'm your boy, Mr. Yes, Sir. Ray in the building.
And we got Dougie Fresh.
Dougie, what up? Take care, guys. Dave, that was fun.